Now that I've gotten through that awkward process of installing the upper superstructure, I can start adding some details to it. I'm not going to add all of the details, just the details that I think need to be present during weathering. Things that I won't be installing are things like searchlights and radars, where they actually can attach to the model in quite convenient ways. There's usually just a base that you can put a bit of glue on, so you can kind of treat it as an independent part, pretty much all the way until the very end. Things that you can't treat as independent details are things like this structure, which is attached to the front of the observation platform. Staying in this area, there are also the booms that stick out the side of the structure. Here, this is more of a case of them being awkward to install later on, so I think it's going to be easier to install them now and just handle them being present rather than trying to weather them in and touch up paint at a later point. Moving down the superstructure to the funnel, there is this thin wire section that goes around the top of the funnel. And then a little bit below that, there is a platform with a handrail. This looks to be a fairly delicate part that could be somewhat difficult to fold. Have to see how that gets on. Moving yet further down and forward to the conning tower, there are actually some plastic components that I'm finally going to get around to installing. There's this small thing that looks like some kind of a radar that needs the plastic antenna replaced with photo etch. And then there is what looks to be some sort of small optical rangefinder. This part is entirely plastic. There will be no photo etch added to it. Let's start by folding some photo etch, starting with the structure that sits in front of the observation platform. This is some of the photo etch that sits on thicker metal, which does make it a lot more sturdy and easy to fold. But it is still a mesh, a loose mesh at that, which means the photo edge folding tool is really the right thing to use here to get a crisp edge. To fold parts like this in your hand with tweezers, they really need to be scored properly. If the metal is too thin, it just warps and doesn't get a nice crease on that edge. But if the metal is too thick, then it's difficult to bend it properly, and it will bend on these thin bars instead of along the photo edge that it's supposed to bend along. So when it comes like this, at least to start the bend, which will weaken the metal a bit where it does bend it, I like to use the photo edge folding tool. It just makes it a lot easier. After making the initial fold with the tool, I remove it and then complete the fold with tweezers in my hands just to bring the edges together and to ensure that they're properly centered. To help prevent the photo edge from springing apart, I apply a little bit of extra thin superglue to the edge and it is bonded in place. Next up to fold is the handrail that runs along this narrow platform that goes at the top of the funnel. This, I think, could be tricky. It's quite a long and delicate piece of photo etch. The first attempt that I'm going to have at folding this is to actually fold it while it's still attached to the fret, or mostly attached to the fret, just to make the photo etch a little bit easier to handle. Once the handrail has been detached from the fret so it can be curved, I use the cylinder on the back of a hobby knife to curve it in my finger. I'm just trying to get it into the rough shape. For something like this, I think there's going to have to be a lot of manual folding with tweezers while it is actually in place on the photo etch itself. Anyway, more on that later. For now, I just want to try and get the other end into position first. Hopefully, if I position the other end correctly, then the whole curve will just fall into place. Let's have a look. As previously mentioned by one of my viewers in the comments, wax paper is something that superglue will not stick to. So this is a trick that I'm going to try for the first time actually while building a model, and that is to just put the photo etch on wax paper and then apply the extra thin superglue directly to the edge and not care if it touches the wax paper because I know it won't bond. Bonding the photo etch like this is substantially easier than holding the photo etch in your hands because you don't have to align it in 3 axes. You just kind of have to push down and ensure that it's in contact. So it makes the positioning of the handrail on the footpath a lot easier. After getting the first end tacked in place, I move a bit further down and apply yet more extra thin superglue, slowly working my way to the part that would be at the back of the funnel. Unfortunately, as I get further and further back, you can see the problem. The handrail is too short. That is very frustrating because it means that I have to work from the fixed end towards the unfixed end, slowly bending it around this curve before I can get to this much easier to attach straight section. So I must now debond the handrail. Fortunately, this is all photo etch, so I can just use acetone to remove the superglue. Once the superglue has been cleaned off and the handrail liberated, I can start the process again, this time working through the curved section first. As mentioned before, this is requiring a bit of manual bending with tweezers, but for a part like this isn't too bad really. You can kind of hold the straight end and force a curve onto it that you can shape fairly well, and because you have the wax paper, it's actually quite easy to hold it in the correct place and bond it down. So this whole process went really well. Almost. You see, this wax paper, it really does stop the superglue from sticking to it, but unfortunately, in this specific case, we have a scenario where we have a nice flat surface that is a wax paper, and on top of it, a nice grating with thin gaps, and superglue that gets pulled around by capillary action. Do you know where a lot of that superglue went? It went in between the gaps in the walkway. So that means that that superglue needs to be removed from the walkway. Unfortunately, when I remove the superglue from the walkway, that debonds the handrail, which means that although this process definitely works for sticking the handrail to the platform, in this case, it doesn't work because of the grating. Now I need to remove all the superglue, and at this point I've gone through this process too many times and I've now become concerned that there is just bits and pieces of superglue sticking here and there that I won't be able to adequately get off, which means I need to give this platform an acetone bath, and to do that I have to remove it from the fret. So off it goes and into a bottle of acetone for a few hours. After its acetone bath, it's looking all nice and pristine again, and I'm going to go back to my fallback method of folding it in my fingers and just leaning on my experience with doing this to try and get a good result. The one good thing about all the handling before this is that I have actually been able to get the handrail into a reasonable state, and these long straight sections actually do make it quite easy to handle, even when I'm handling it separately in my hands like this while it's not attached to the fret. So with a little bit of effort, I am able to get the handrail into the correct position and then bond it in place using extra thin superglue. Once around the corner, the straight sections are considerably easier. It's just a matter of holding in the right position. Just a matter of holding in the right position. That's like the entire hobby. But yes, it's a matter of holding it in the right position and then very carefully applying extra thin superglue to the edge, being sure not to let it run in between the gratings on the walkway, which can be easier said than done, but it is achievable. Staying in the area of the funnel, the last little detail to be prepared is this wire that runs along top of the funnel, and by prepared, I just mean removed from its fret and set aside ready for paint. Moving back up to the observation platform, there's a little bit of work that needs to be done to the booms. I suppose these are actually yard arms, or yards actually, but whatever you want to call them, booms, yards. These things come in 3 components: the brass yard or boom itself, and then 2 pieces of photo etch that are attached above and below it. One thing to note about this brass boom is that it's actually a little bit shorter than what is illustrated in the manual. The photo etch fits along its entire length. There is absolutely no little bit left over to insert all the way back to the superstructure, which I think is very unfortunate because it makes the attachment point for these booms a lot weaker. Anyway, that is something to deal with a little bit later on in the video. For now, it's just a matter of getting the photo etch in position and then bonding it in place using extra thin superglue that I apply with the wire. That is all of the fully photo etch parts prepared. So now for the plastic and plastic with photo etch parts. That is this rangefinder and this small antenna. After removing them from their sprues, a little bit of cleanup is required with clippers and files before on this small antenna, removing the entire antenna. The photo etch replacement for the antenna is also very simple. It's just a single piece of photo etch that is removed from its fret and rolled in my finger to impart a slight curve on it. To bond it in place, I apply a small drop of medium viscosity superglue to the top of the base that the antenna sits on, and then I place the antenna into the glue. Being such a small component, it does grip fairly quickly within a couple of seconds, and then I have a little bit of time to ensure that it is correctly positioned before the glue hardens sufficiently to not allow it to move anymore. Since the optical rangefinder doesn't have any photo etch to attach to it, once it is removed and cleaned up, it is ready for painting, along with all the other components that I've prepared in this video. So it is now time to paint. For the most part, these components will be painted light gray, Mr. Color number 308. So to start, I'll paint all of them Mr. Color 308 as at least the undercoat. Only one of the booms sits within the camouflage pattern and will be painted navy blue, Mr. Color number 14. Anyway, after painting all of the components in light gray and then one of the booms in navy blue, they are set aside and left to dry for around an hour. That is just enough time for the paint to be sufficiently dry for me to be able to handle them without worrying about removing the paint. The order in which I'm going to install these components is intentional. I like to start in the center of the ship with the more awkward components and then work my way outwards. That's just so that as details get installed, they don't get in the way of me installing future details. Of all of these components, I think the most central and most awkward to install is going to be this thin wire that runs along the top of the funnel. So I'm going to start there. One thing that is interesting about this wire, as you would have seen, is that it actually is too wide for the top of the funnel, which is really strange. So I have to cut a section out of it. Unfortunately, I did not pay sufficient attention when making this cut, and I made it a little bit too big, which means there is now a gap between the wires. This is something I'm going to have to fix later on. But for now, I will just install this wire. To install it, I apply drops of medium viscosity superglue to the end of these attachment points and then place it in contact with the top of the funnel. After very carefully holding it in place for a few seconds, it is sufficiently tacked in place that I'm able to let go and then reinforce the bond using extra thin superglue that I apply to each of the attachment points. The reason why you only see me applying the extra thin superglue and only on one side is because I forgot to press record again. As I like to say, just imagine me doing it for the other side. Anyway, with the wire attached, I'm now going to install the walkway. This is a bit interesting because you would think that from the same detail kit that if the wire at the top of the funnel is too wide, then the walkway at the bottom would also be too wide. But no, it fits perfectly. So I don't know how that makes sense. I don't know how the plastic can be both correctly fitted and incorrectly fitted, but it is. At this point, I'm just glad that the walkway fits properly. To bond it in place, I apply a little bit of medium viscosity superglue to the top of this convenient ridge that it sits on, and then place the walkway on top of the glue. As always, to reinforce the bond, because I'm always just a little bit concerned about small patches of medium viscosity superglue actually holding photo etch in place, I then also apply more extra thin superglue with a wire to the edge of the platform and let capillary action draw the glue under the platform. Up until this point, I was debating with myself how to resolve that gap between these wires at the top of the funnel. In the end, I settled on, I don't like there being the gap there, I need to fill it with something, and I figured the best way to fill it was to use rigging, very fine rigging that I stretch between the gap and then bulk up using superglue to try and get it to the same width. The rigging that I'm using here is AK's hyperthin rigging, which is suitable for 1 in 350 scale ships. There is actually a type of rigging from them that's even thinner, that's their mega thin. I do have that, it's just that it's too thin for this. In the past, my rigging was easy line, and the easy line for this is actually too thick. So I have 3 different thicknesses of elastic rigging, and the middle one is the appropriate one for this work. Anyway, after sticking down one end of the rigging using superglue, I pull it tight and attach the other end. I did notice that this rigging has a tendency to curl when superglue is applied to it, which is a bit awkward, but it's something I can work with. But once one end is attached and I'm able to pull it straight, it does make things quite a lot easier. And then once the other end is attached, I remove the excess with the scissors and then apply even more superglue to the rigging itself to harden it so I can shape it into a cylinder that is roughly the same thickness as the wire. That all worked surprisingly well, so I apply a little bit of paint to conceal the black rigging, and it looks like it blends in fairly well. So I'm quite happy with the result. I think it's one of those things that is now less noticeable than the gap, but in both cases you would really need to know to look for it to be able to see it. With the funnel details attached, I can move back up the superstructure to the observation platform. When I did the test for this structure, I noticed that one of the supports for the wind baffle actually obstructs the top of the structure, so I had to snap it off and remove it. Not the whole wind baffle, just the single support strut. I was able to do that fairly easily with my needle nose pliers. To actually attach the structure to the platform, I applied a little bit of medium viscosity superglue to the base of the structure and then just put it into place. Once I had adjusted the position so that it was centered and pointing, directly out from the platform, I applied extra thin superglue to the remaining areas on the base of the superstructure to securely bond it in place. Next up are the booms. In the case of these booms, there's actually a hole in the side of the platform where the boom should run through all the way to the superstructure. But since the boom is short, I have to kind of stick the base of the boom to the air. So, that's fun. But it turns out that because the actual photo etch stops at the edge of the boom, you can bond using that little piece of photo etch on the top part of the boom. Once that superglue is set and there's a sufficient blob on the inside of that structure where you can't see it, it will actually hold the boom in place. Once the glue is gripping, but still not fully set, I rotate the model onto its side so that the boom can hang vertically downwards, just as a way to help position it. That means that at this point, all I need to do is reinforce the glue on these booms, because as I said, the way they attach it seems very awkward and delicate. For these photo etch support struts, which in reality aren't going to do much in the way of supporting, I bond them to the side of the superstructure using extra thin superglue, and then I just take another good blob of medium viscosity superglue and shove it up behind the base of the boom just to help bond it in place from the inside of the superstructure. With that done, there are only two components left to install. These are these small components that go on the top of the conning tower. During the test fits, I noticed that both of the holes were a little bit too small, so I start by opening them up with a fine drill bit in a pin vise, at which point they now do fit in nicely, so I'm able to position them into their holes and then apply extra thin plastic cement to the side of the component to bond it in place. With that, the first round of detail installation is complete. This is going to be the theme for the next few videos, just adding in more details. Next up, I'm going to complete the construction of the main armament. If you don't want to wait for the scheduled release of videos and want to watch them when they are uploaded, consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below. If you would like to support the channel, like and subscribe, and as always, questions are welcome in the comments. Thank you for watching. Cheers.